Picture yourself on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Maybe you have a record spinning in the background, something from your collection, a familiar guitar riff drifting out of the speakers, while you settle into your favorite chair with a cup of something warm. And a song comes on, one you have heard 100 times, one that feels like it belongs to a completely different artist. You have never once wondered who wrote it. It just is what it is. But here is the thing. There is a good chance that song came from the same two men who gave you Satisfaction and Gimme Shelter. Two men who were writing songs so fast, so freely, that they were practically giving them away. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards did not just build the Rolling Stones. They quietly supplied a remarkable number of songs to other artists during the 1960s, songs that became genuine hits, some of them iconic in their own right. And most people have no idea. When you hear those records now, knowing the truth behind them, they take on a whole new character. Today I'm going to walk you through 12 of those songs. We will look at how each one came to be, who recorded it, and what it tells us about just how fertile and restless the Jagger-Richards songwriting partnership really was in those early years. If you want a companion reference with a few extra notes, the link in the description has that for you, completely free. I will not bring it up again. Let us start at the beginning. Number 1, As Tears Go By.
Smiling faces I can see, but not for me.
This is probably the most well-known song on this list, and it is a good place to start because it shows you how this whole pattern began. In 1964, the Stones manager Andrew Loog Oldham essentially locked Jagger and Richards in a kitchen and told them not to come out until they had written a song. What came out of that room was a quiet, almost fragile ballad, nothing like the band's own material at the time. Oldham gave it to a young singer named Marianne Faithfull, and it became a top 10 hit in the UK. The Stones later recorded their own version, but the song was Marianne's first. A lot of people do not know that the writing career of Jagger and Richards began, in some ways, with a love song handed to someone else.
I sit and watch the children play.
Number 2, That Girl Belongs to Yesterday.
But now I know at last that girl belongs.
In 1964, American pop star Gene Pitney recorded this Jagger-Richards composition, and it reached the top 10 in the United Kingdom. Pitney had already worked with the Stones in the studio, and there was genuine mutual admiration between them. This song has a warmth and a melodic confidence that you would not immediately associate with the Stones of that era. It stands up beautifully today, and most listeners could go their whole lives without knowing who wrote it.
Girl, she belongs to yesterday.
Number 3, Blue Turns to Gray.
And she's not home when you call, so you then go to all.
Cliff Richard, one of Britain's most enduring pop stars, recorded this Jagger-Richards song and released it around 1966. Cliff had a gift for finding material that suited his voice perfectly, and this one is a quiet, melancholy piece with a genuinely lovely melody. It was not a massive chart hit, but it is a fine example of the range Jagger and Richards were capable of at the time. They could write a rough blues stomp and then turn around and produce something as delicate as this.
You just don't feel good, and you don't feel alright.
Number 4, Out of Time. This one is important. Chris Farlowe, a British soul and rock singer with a powerful voice, took this Jagger-Richards song all the way to number 1 in the United Kingdom in 1966. Mick Jagger actually produced the record himself. There is something remarkable about the song going to the very top of the charts while the Stones were at the height of their own success. And most people today simply know it as a Chris Farlowe record, full stop. Hearing it with fresh ears, knowing Jagger and Richards wrote every note, changes the experience considerably. Number 5, Think. Also recorded by Chris Farlowe and also produced by Mick Jagger. This one did not reach the same commercial heights as Out of Time, but it is a gutsy, driving piece of work and a good example of how the Stones were using Farlowe almost as a parallel project. If you enjoy Chris Farlowe's voice and you have not gone back to explore his mid-60s catalog, that is a genuinely rewarding afternoon of listening waiting for. Number 6, Ride On Baby.
You'll feel it inside. Oh, ride on, baby. Ride on, baby.
Another Jagger-Richards song that found its way to Chris Farlowe. By this point, you start to understand that Farlowe was not just a one-off recipient of Stone's material. There was a real creative relationship happening. Ride On Baby has an energy to it, a certain looseness, and it fits Farlowe's raw style well. It is not often discussed, but it belongs in any honest accounting of how productive and generous this songwriting team was during that period.
You won't look pretty, and your friends are gonna get you good. Ride on, baby. Ride on, baby.
Number 7, Sittin' on a Fence.
Since I was young, I've been very hard to please.
This one went to a British duo called Twice as Much, who recorded it in 1966. The song is gentle, almost pastoral, with an acoustic texture that feels completely removed from anything the Stones were doing themselves at the time. The contrast is actually the point. Jagger and Richards were not writing in one style and handing out the leftovers. They were genuinely exploring different sounds, and they seemed to enjoy giving those explorations to artists who could carry them in a different direction.
So I'm sitting on a fence.
Number 8, Take It or Leave It.
Just take it or leave it. Don't tell your friends just
The Searchers, one of the great beat groups of the early British invasion era, recorded this Jagger-Richards composition. The Searchers had a clean, bright sound, and this song suits their style rather well. It is a fairly straightforward piece of pop writing, but the craftsmanship is there. Knowing that Jagger and Richards wrote it adds an interesting footnote to the broader story of that whole era of British music, when songwriters and performers were often operating as two separate groups of people.
sick and tired of the smile that you give.
Number 9, Some Things Just Stick in Your Mind.
Some things just stick in your mind.
This is one of the more obscure entries on the list, and in some ways, one of the more fascinating. Vashti Bunyan, a British singer-songwriter who would later become something of a cult figure in folk circles, recorded this Jagger-Richards song as a single in 1964. It did not chart particularly well at the time, but it has a genuinely lovely, understated quality. If you enjoy that era of quiet British folk pop, tracking this one down is well worth your time. It is a reminder that Jagger and Richards were writing songs with a tenderness that their public image as rock bad boys often obscured.
Why when we children grow up and bleed?
Number 10, Shangadu Lang.
Well, you tell me that you really love me. I know you told me that you really want me.
1964, a young British pop singer named Adrienne Posta recorded this Jagger-Richards song. Adrienne was a teenager at the time, working within a very specific style of upbeat British pop that was everywhere that year. The song is bright and bouncy and thoroughly of its moment. It is not the most artistically weighty entry on this list, but it is a genuine piece of history. A small window into how active the Jagger-Richards machine was during those early years, turning out material in volume and placing it with a wide range of artists. Number 11, It Should Be You.
It should be you, it should be you, it should be you.
George Bean, a British singer who never quite broke through to mainstream success, recorded this early Jagger-Richards composition. Bean was in some ways a test case for material the Stones' management circle wanted to try out on the market without committing the band's own name to it. It Should Be You has an earnest, straightforward pop quality. George Bean deserves a footnote in rock history simply for being one of the earliest performers to put a Jagger-Richards song on record.
I cheat a bad English girl, it should be you.
12. Each and Every Day of the Year.
Never get around to anymore. Don't know what my friends are for. No.
Gene Pitney, who we met earlier in this list, recorded this Jagger-Richards composition as well. Pitney had a connection to the Stones' world that ran deeper than a single collaboration, and this song reflects that ongoing creative exchange. It is a warm, considered piece of pop writing, and Pitney's vocal delivery gives it a weight it might not have carried in other hands. When you place it alongside That Girl Belongs to Yesterday, you start to see just how much Pitney contributed to the early spread of the Jagger-Richards catalog beyond the Stones themselves. If you are enjoying this kind of deep dive into the stories behind the music, I would love for you to join us here on The Vinyl Veteran. Subscribe if you have not already, and drop your questions or memories in the comments. This is a genuine community of people who care about this music, and I read what you write. So, what does all of this add up to? It adds up to something rather extraordinary. Two young men in London, still finding their footing as recording artists themselves, were producing a body of written work so substantial that they could supply a meaningful portion of it to other artists, some famous, some forgotten, and still have enough left over to build one of the most enduring catalogs in the history of rock music. Most of these songs were written quickly, handed off, and largely forgotten as Stones compositions. There was no marketing campaign around them, no anniversary box sets celebrating the Jagger-Richards songwriting operation of 1964 to 1966. The songs just went out into the world and became what they became. The music industry has never had much interest in telling you this story because there is no product to sell you around it. The simple truth, that a handful of songs you already love were written by people you would never have guessed, costs nothing to know and enriches everything. This week, pull up one of these recordings and listen with fresh ears. Maybe As Tears Go By, maybe Out of Time. Let the knowledge of who wrote it settle in. And next time, we are going to look at rock legends who walked away from the biggest deal of their careers, and why, decades later, most of them say it was the right call. I think you will find it worth your time. Thank you for being here. Keep the records spinning.
The day is fine, the pretty girl has a hand in mine, and the silver streak is a poor man's wine.